I guess, is Golden State a sleeper or maybe a non-sleeper? They're just maybe an obvious destination spot for him. Jimmy Butler's done for the year. What's the likelihood maybe we see the Greek Freak end up playing alongside Steph?
Yeah, I think this one makes a lot of sense. I want to applaud our mad scientist, though, Sam Quinn, for coming up with a way to land Giannis in Minnesota. Genius. I mean, I thought I liked Jaden McDaniels. He likes Jaden McDaniels even more, but that would be a lot of fun. But let's talk about a reality situation here now instead of a fantasy one, because I think the Warriors are actually a favorite to land Giannis. It just makes so much sense. As you mentioned, Mike, Jimmy Butler out for the season with an ACL injury. Jonathan Kuminga has already put his hand up and said, I want out of this place. They won't play me. I'm 23 years old. Get me to a situation where I can actually get some shots up. This would make a lot of sense for Milwaukee, too, right? You give them all the run that you can. And here on top of it, you're placing Giannis next to Steph. Steph is 37 years old. They've already called Golden State a fading dynasty. That is true. But what would it look like if all of a sudden you're running that two-man game with Giannis and Steph Curry? Good luck to opposing defenses trying to shut those two guys down if they're on the same team. And here's the other reason why I think that the Warriors are favorites. They have up to 4 first-round picks that they can offer. What are you saving them for, right? That window on Steph Curry is closing sooner rather than later. Throw out the bushel, bring in Giannis. Let's get this party started. This one makes sense. I want this thing to happen too. Giannis to Golden State.
I like all of it. I like the 17 trade deals. You know, I like the reality. Why not? I mean, it's the NBA. The trade deadlines is just about as fun. The offseason's always great. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see what ends up happening again. We're about 6 days away from that trade deadline, February 5th. Here are the odds to win the Western Conference right now as they stand. The Thunder leading the charge at -150. The Nuggets there +410 ahead of the Spurs. Remember, Jokic coming back pretty soon, and the Rockets, Timberwolves, and Lakers follow. We'll see what ends up happening out west, but first we got to see what happens.
$8 million sitting on their bench. You wonder, are they going to potentially try to use that to make an upgrade? I wonder if they might try to combine those contracts, throw in some picks, go for a Michael Porter Jr. type. What I think is likelier, though, will they try to get below the luxury tax and get another guard, ideally in the same trade? I look at a guy like Ayo Dosunmu only making around $7 million for the Bulls. Could you pry Ryan Rollins away from the Bucks now that they're headed in another direction, potentially trading Giannis? Is there a way you could take, say, a Dorian Finney-Smith, take that $12 million contract, shave half of it off, get below the tax, and find a guard in the process? If you do both, I think you're feeling very good about this deadline.
John, let's move over to the LA Lakers. What are they staring at here? Are they staring at making a move now, or possible rebuild is in their future?
Yeah, I think this is a rebuild on the fly, right? They're 5th in the Western Conference.
This is one of those moments where the entire Warriors fan base needs to stop, take a breath, and really understand what time it is. Not in a dramatic way, not in a panic way, but in a real way. Because Stephen Curry is creeping toward 40, and yet he's still playing like the best shooter who has ever lived. He's still warping defenses. He's still forcing entire game plans to be built around him. And the idea of letting this era quietly fade without making one last serious move should honestly feel unacceptable for a franchise that built its entire identity on greatness. That's why this Trey Murphy conversation hits so differently. Trey Murphy is exactly the type of player the Warriors should be circling in red ink right now. A long, athletic wing, a real two-way presence, a guy who can score without needing the offense to revolve around him. 22 points a game, 6 rebounds, near 50% from the field, almost 40% from 3, and he's doing it while also giving you defense and length on the perimeter. That's not a role player. That's a modern NBA weapon. And the craziest part, his talent is being wasted. Let's be honest about what's happening in New Orleans. The Pelicans are stuck in that no-man's land every team fears. Not bad enough to reset, not good enough to matter. Constantly rotating coaches, inconsistent identity, injuries, chemistry issues, and a core that never seems to fully click. Trey Murphy is 25 years old, entering his prime, and instead of being developed inside a winning ecosystem, he's trapped in basketball purgatory. That's where Golden State should strike. Because what do the Warriors actually need right now? Not nostalgia, not sentiment. They need exactly what Trey Murphy brings: athletic scoring, floor spacing, defensive length, and a player who fits the modern Warriors system without hijacking it. He doesn't need the ball glued to his hands. He thrives off movement, cutting and attacking closeouts. That's literally Warriors basketball in human form. And that's what makes this feel bigger than just another trade rumor. This feels like a philosophical moment for the franchise. Golden State cannot afford to keep pretending the future matters more than the present when Steph Curry is still this good. The wait until the offseason mindset is dangerous. Every year you wait is one less year you get back. Championships are not guaranteed. Windows close fast. And the most painful endings in sports history always come from teams that waited 1 year too long. This isn't about desperation. This is about responsibility. Responsibility to the player who changed basketball. Responsibility to the fan base that lived through 4 championships. Responsibility to the reality that Steph Curry is still capable of leading a contender if you actually give him the right pieces around him. Trey Murphy isn't a fantasy superstar. He's not a flashy headline name. He's something far more valuable, a perfect fit. The kind of player who makes stars better. The kind of player who punishes defenses when they overcommit. The kind of player who doesn't care about being the face, only about winning. And that's exactly what the Warriors need right now. Not a rebuild, not a farewell tour, a real basketball move. This roster already has the system, it has the culture, it has the greatest shooter of all time still operating at a championship level. What is missing is that next reliable scoring wing who can consistently make teams pay for focusing too much on Steph. Someone who can take over stretches when the offense stalls. Someone who brings energy, youth, and athleticism without breaking the flow of the team. Trey Murphy checks every single box. And that's why this shouldn't even be negotiable anymore. If Golden State is serious about respecting the Curry era, about honoring what this run has meant, and about giving themselves one more real shot at something special, then they cannot sit still. They cannot hide behind future assets. They cannot pretend patience is the same thing as strategy. Sometimes, the smartest move is simply the one that matches the moment. The moment is now. The player is still elite. The window is still open. And the league is filled with talented players stuck in bad situations who would explode in the right system. Trey Murphy is one of them. Dub Nation, this is the type of move that doesn't just improve the roster. It reignites belief. It sends a message to the locker room. It tells Steph, tells the league, and tells the fans that the Warriors are not done chasing greatness. Now, I want to hear from you. Should the Warriors go all in on Trey Murphy? Is he the missing piece for one more serious title run? Or should Golden State swing even bigger? Drop your opinion in the comments, hit like if you believe the Curry era still deserves one more real push, and subscribe to Warriors Nation News, because this trade deadline might define the final chapter of the greatest run in franchise history.